They didn't introduce me, but you know what?
I was supposed to,
Everybody
but I
knows
didn't
I look like a cholo anyway, so. Orale, everybody! Everybody! Thank you for that wonderful intro, Lou. Okay, we ready? Are we ready? Ready?
Yeah, ready.
Listen, you know that Cheech Chong, what they mean to comedy, what they mean to this great city of Los Angeles. And then today, I'm delighted because we are here to honor two legendary comedians, Richard Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong, everybody. Vámonos, cabrones. Everybody knows how Cheech and Chong have had a major impact in entertainment and the comedy routines we all did in the early 70s. And they addressed the issues that are even important today. They mind the counterculture, that lifestyle. I mean, I don't think that we can say that marijuana is legal in California and not thank Cheech and Chong. That too, come on! Cheech told me he didn't know that it was ever illegal. So, ultimately, Cheech and Chong has sold 10 million comedy albums. They were nominated for 4 Grammy Awards, winning Best Comedy Recording for Los Cochinos! Los Cochinos! All the cochinos! Everybody wave your hands! And sucias! All right, a dude with a sucia. So they decided to make their first movie. It was 40 years ago. Lou Adler produced it, and that movie was in 1978. It became a cult classic, a must-have, and that movie is called Up in Smoke. So Up in Smoke was a smash hit. Their comedy gave voice to topics that you seldom saw in movies, and they began a revolution for audiences and comedians like me that would follow. So today, we take a moment to honor both their entertainment contributions, their contributions to American culture, Chicano culture. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, make a lot of noise for the men, the myth, the marihuanos, the legends, Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong.
He gets 3 months of his court-mandated community service knocked off for that. Man. So, you know, it's a win-win for everybody.
I want to thank everybody for the clap.
You can clap louder, though. Go ahead.
What? We want to thank everybody for this honor. We did a movie 40 years ago, and
40.
And I hope that the Blu-ray sells a lot. Then we'll get paid.
Yeah.
At least some of it, you know. But we wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for Lou Adler, because Lou Adler.
Where's Louis?
When Lou Adler saw our act at the Troubadour many years ago, and we were down on our knees sniffing each other's butt, Lou said, "I like that." Yeah, he really enjoyed that part of it.
I can see this going worldwide.
And what I did with that bit, I just fucked up Lou's bit.
Thank you.
But I want to thank not only Lou, but there's Howard and Julie and Paige and my son Paris and my daughter Robbie. And her filmmaking guy, what's his name? Dave. And my gorgeous Ray Dawn Chong.
Hey.
She's here. She did a movie before Cheech and Chong even.
Yeah.
And
she was naked in the whole thing.
But making Up in Smoke, we proved a lot of things. We proved that, first of all, Up in Smoke is kind of like the Trump presidency. Like, Up in Smoke proved that anybody could make a movie. And Trump proved that anybody can be president. But we do honor, at least I really appreciate everything that Mr. Adler has provided for us, which was, like Up in Smoke wouldn't have done anything if it wasn't for Lou's ability to take a small project and make it bigger, big as life as what it is. Because it really, Up in Smoke would have been a big, you know, a local hit, maybe. But Lou knew how to, you know, put it in the right places. Like in Cannes Film Festival, he got it over there somehow. And he introduced our crazy humor to the world through our records and through through Up in Smoke. And so, personally, I want to thank Lou from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Wasn't for you, dude, we wouldn't be here.
Thank you very nice, Lou.
And now Cheech will repeat everything I said in Spanish.
See. Well, thank everybody for coming out today to help us celebrate. We filmed a great portion of the movie right here in this building and in the parking lot next door. So it's really a homegrown movie that we all can enjoy, and it should be a cultural landmark for the city of West Hollywood. So we want that's a good cue to invite some local dignitaries up, isn't it? Oh, let's do that.
And by the way, that wall wasn't there yesterday. We'd like to introduce some of the dignitaries, representatives of the great city of West Hollywood, who have wisely decided to give Cheech and Chong the key to the city. And then because they're marihuanos, they're also getting half a key on the side. So please join me in welcoming West Hollywood Mayor Pro Tem John Duran and West Hollywood City Council member Lindsay Horvath.
And I'm John Heilman. I'm actually the mayor of the city of West Hollywood. So thank you all for being here. We are here to recognize the 40th anniversary of Up in Smoke. We are also here to honor Cheech and Chong for their amazing careers and their continued contribution to our community, and also to give a big shout out to Lou Adler and the Roxy, where much of the film was shot. So we are just here. I'm going to turn it over to our Mayor Pro Tem, who grew up in Southern California, and he's going to tell you about how he was underage with a fake ID, sneaking into these clubs up here. So I'm going to turn it over to John Duran.
Thank you, Mayor. So I was born in East LA, the only Latino to ever serve on the city council of the city of West Hollywood. And I went to 12 years of Catholic school, and I had a Sister Mary elephant that I had to deal with every day of my life. And these guys coming on the scene gave me a sense of relief that there was going to be some humor out there. Later, I became the legal counsel for the first Cannabis Resource Center in Southern California, became their attorney. And I will tell you, all the hard work we've done in the courts and the legislatures and Proposition 64 and Proposition 215, it all started with these gentlemen over here. So I have certain powers vested in me, and this one is dedicated to Attorney General Jeff Sessions. By the powers vested in me under the great laws of the state of California, I declare today to be Cheech and Chong Day in the city of West Hollywood.
Thank you. And we have keys to the city as well.
Up in smoke, it's been a very quick 40 years. Some ups and downs, but with very few bitter tears. We just smoked our weed, and we figured out a way we could.
Hey, let's really show our appreciation to Cheech and Chong. I mean, seriously, they're all of our idols. They're all of our heroes. Those guys will last forever. Everybody says Laurel and Hardy. I said Laurel Hardy. Vete a la verga. Cheech and Chong! Vete a la verga. I'm trying to get actually into the English language. But, okay, in addition to the keys to the city, Cheech and Chong are also receiving another honor today. And to present them with a special commemorative plaque, please welcome director, producer, all-around great guy, the only vato I've ever seen that could make a Disneyland hat look good, Make a lot of noise for the man himself, Mr. Lou Adler.
Thank you very much. I have this for George, which I'd like to give to him.
Hey, and like a good Chicano would say, I'll make it fit.
Actually, Tommy took away my intro, which was about being at the Troubadour, and it was Hootenanny night, where you sign up, talent signs up, and then they just run them through. They do 15, 20 minutes. And somebody in the bar said, you ought to go in there. There's a couple comedians by the name of Cheech Chong that I think you'd be interested in seeing. And when I did go in, I didn't see anybody on stage until I looked down, and then Tommy and Cheech were on their knees and hands, going around in a circle, smelling each other's butts. And this was their dog act. Right?
It was.
Right. I got some notes because actually I'm not Kareem Jabbar, who was supposed to do this, but I made some notes, so excuse me if I look at them. When we did the albums, there were no one-liners like in a lot of the most comedy albums at that time. There were always little plays with characters, and they were acting them out. It's why we called it ear movies, because we actually added sound effects to the bits that they were doing. So there was a natural progression to taking that to film. It did take 7 years, and once we decided to try and make a film, and it was called Pedro and Man, The Adventures of Pedro and Man, until Tommy wrote the song Up in Smoke and played it for Cheech and I, and we said, that's the title. But the reason it took 7 years, as you can imagine, when I went in to see the heads of the studios, and I'm a record producer, and I say, I'd like to make a film about marijuana with a Mexican and a Chinaman. Not a lot of people jumping out of their seats to make that one. But eventually we did in 1970. I'm looking at these. And Tommy and Cheech were amazing in adapting to their first film and a first-time director. An example of that is on the last day of shooting, we were trying to get the last shot of the film. And we had worked about 16 hours, and we're lined up for the shot. And I'm sitting there, and we're lined up for the shot. And we're lined up for the shot. And the first AD leans over and he says, say action. It's really apropos that we're here. I mean, this building right here and the parking lots and Sunset Boulevard is where most of Up in Smoke was filmed. Tommy's improvised and very, very funny scene in the parking lot in the van with JD's took place there in the Battle of the Bands inside with Cheech and his famous pink tutu doing Earache My Eye. And is Ruben Guevara in the... Ruben, three of the horn players, one of them was a chef or the cook at the Rainbow, Miguel, who's no longer with us. The other was Ruben Guevara, the musical genius from East LA. And the other one we didn't know, and we dressed this guy as one of the trumpet players, and he kept disappearing. And then we'd have to dress somebody else and just put him there. Eventually, he just left. That was the type of film that we were shooting. There's a scene where a motorcycle cop pulls his motorcycle up, gets off the motorcycle, walks up to the van, and says something to Tommy and Cheech. That was 3 different actors. One drove the motorcycle up, he left, one walked to the van, and one made the speech. We weren't paying very much, so we kept losing them like that. Let's see. Cheech at the Battle of the Bands. This is somewhat serious. What is overlooked as far, and that's why I'm glad we're here 40 years later and what the city council is doing. Because overlooked in this very funny movie about marijuana is just the brilliance of Tommy and Cheech as actors and comedians. And I think they do deserve a hand. And that brilliant, they should have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. They should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And now that Jan has let Bon Jovi in, maybe you guys will get in. But until then, the beginning of it all, we're going to put a plaque in front of the Roxy, which may be the beginning of the West Hollywood Walk of Fame. And the difference between the Walk of Fame in Hollywood and the West Hollywood is that the recipients in West Hollywood actually walked on this street. The plaque reads, to Cheech and Chong for their outstanding contribution to comedy and activism. Don't ever forget, not only did he smoke his way for the 40 years, but he's responsible in a lot of ways for the legalization of marijuana. Tommy Chong. Oh, he's got it. There it is. This is a replica. We're going to make some of these for everyone in the audience. So we're around there. What's it?
Okay, cool.
Where did we go in?
We're on the road.
Is that it? Okay. Quick story, two of them. One time I was on the bookstore right there, the magazine shop right there in Royal Canyon and Van Ness Boulevard, and Tommy was out there. And I said, hey. And Tommy said, what have you been doing? I said, working. And then he looked at the newsstand. He said, how long have you been working here? And then I went to Cheech's house about 20 years ago, and I smoked weed with
Let me tell you what he said.
All right.
I was fucking with him. I knew he was, he's George Lopez, man. And so when he says, been working, I said, so how long you been working here? He went like this. He goes, I don't work here, man. No, I'm on the road. I'm doing gigs. I said, I'm fucking with you, George.
And then one of the times I went to Malibu, I went to Cheech's house, and he's like, you want to smoke a little marijuana? I said, yeah. So we went on top of the house with the overview of the ocean, and we were smoking weed. We went downstairs, and he's like, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm good. And then he went inside, and I was in my car for about 25 minutes, and outside in front of his house. I think he took a shower, and when he came by through the window, he saw me, and then he knocked on my window, and he's like, hey, man, you got to go closer so that gate can open. I was like 200 yards from the fucking gate. Every car that went by, police!
The first time I met George, he came down to see me play a basketball game, celebrity basketball game in Malibu. First time you had ever been to Malibu, or you seen the ocean or anything like that. And he taps me on the shoulder and he says, hey, if you ever need some good-looking Mexicans for your movie, I said, why, you know any?
Man, I love these guys. Let's all give a nice round of applause. Congratulations. 40 years of Up in Smoke, Cheech and Chong. They deserve this. They deserve a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. We're going to make it happen. And into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So Lou Adler, thank you very much, Lou Adler. Paige, everybody involved with the Roxy. And God bless Cheech and Chong. And viva la raza!
Some ups and downs, but with very few bitter tears. We just smoked our weed, and we figured out a way we could get high and get some other folks to pay. The smoke today is much stronger now, they say. And we will too. Stronger now than back in the good old days. When you see back then,